Thank you, Chairman Hudson, for holding this hearing on the importance of U.S. preparation and participation in the World Radio Communication Conference. And I thank all the witnesses for being here and testifying. Ambassador Lane, can you talk us through the Department of State's role in leading the delegation, how they work with other federal agencies, including NTIA and the FCC, to ensure that the U.S. is adequately prepared for WRC, and then what role should Congress play in that process?
Thank you very much for the question. It's an important one. The State Department oversees the process overall. It is a continuing process. Immediately after the preceding WRC, the process begins to prepare studies and inputs for the next WRC. So there are a series of global ITU meetings in preparation, and we have an internal process that continues throughout the 4-year cycle. The State Department, as I mentioned, oversees bringing the two tracks together, led by FCC and NTIA. I think we have great teams in all of those agencies who have worked together very closely for quite some time. The State Department, the head of delegation for the WRC, is the final decider on a lot of those issues. And I think Congress has an important role to play. You're raising attention to this important topic, I think, is very helpful. Okay. But I think this year we need to be mindful of resources as well. The teams need to be resourced both in terms of personnel, and Ms. Alexander highlighted some of those needs, but they'll also need resources to be able to engage effectively diplomatically. There is a lot of travel that needs to take place in the months and years preceding the conference that is costly. And then we should also be creative about other types of diplomatic engagement. There's been some discussion of the potential for a Spectrum Summit hosted in the United States that could bring parties together and look for areas of common ground and build coalitions. We should consider things like providing training to regulators who will be participating in the conference. So there are a number of different resource implications that Congress should be aware of.
Ms. Alexander, if the U.S. were to reduce its engagement at the conference, what countries are most likely going to fill that vacuum, and what are the national security implications associated with their increased influence?
Thank you very much for the question. And I'll just observe in my 20 years of doing ITU work, what I've seen is a marked engagement of Asian countries, in particular China. So in some cases, when the U.S. or U.S. companies don't come, China comes, and China comes even more. And I think that will happen in this case as well. If we were not there and we don't show up, they will, and they'll show up in big numbers, and that will be bad for national security in the long run for us.
Thank you. Mr. John, do you have anything to add to that question?
Could you repeat that?
Yes, I'll repeat. If the U.S. were to reduce its engagement at the conference, what countries are most likely going to fill the vacuum, and what are the national security implications associated with that increased influence?
I don't have any.
Don't have any? Okay. On a similar note, the next WRC will be held in Shanghai, China. Several of you mentioned in your testimony that the location of the conference raises broader geopolitical and security considerations. Mr. John, how is industry thinking about its participation in Shanghai? Are companies still planning to participate?
Great question. So security, access, operational feasibility are the things that they're considering. So think about use of VPNs, or what kind of currency am I going to be using? Am I going to be surveilled? Will I have easy entry and exit opportunities? So these are things that the host country agreement do need to establish, and in the end, I do believe most of U.S. industry will participate. It's a global level treaty-making conference, and they have huge stakes at play. And just from my experience, WRC 19 is relevant here. It was held in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. To get into my hotel room, I had to go through 2 sets of security. I could only take certain buses to the conference venue and back, and we weren't allowed to leave at all. And so it's not quite the same level of security issues, but there have been these types of situations in the past, and State Department and others have been able to overcome.
All right, so precautions are taken. Ms. Alexander, what is the most likely outcome if the U.S. arrives divided on high priority agenda items? And I got 16 seconds.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for the question. I would say, consistency matters, and if the United States shows up and different people in the U.S. are saying different things, then people don't take the U.S. seriously. And that has happened when other countries have taken the microphone and one person says something and someone says something else from that same country. So we don't want that to be us.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you.